Good day, people of the internet. My name is Irish Dog, and this is Guild Wars 2 Basics, and today we're going to be talking about jumping puzzles. So in this episode, we're going to be discussing what jumping puzzles are. Well, I'm going to be telling you what they are. Some tips and tricks I've found, and how I've practiced to do jumping puzzles. So jumping puzzles are a platforming task that can get you chests, vistas, skill points, or a rich resource node that are around the world. But these are kind of thrown into two different categories of one's associated with achievements and one's not associated with achievements. So, majority of jumping puzzles you'll hear people talking about are ones associated with achievements of you finish it, you get a little achievement. There are several jumping puzzles that have a boss or an event at the end. So once you get to the end, a veteran creature will either be sitting there or will spawn, and then you have to kill it to safely actually get to the reward at the end. So that's what jumping puzzles are. Going on to some tips and tricks. Okay, I know I said in one of my episodes, the movement and combat, that you can use your mouse keys to move around. In a jumping puzzle, you don't want to be doing that. Doing the mouse keys to move around is going to slow you down. So try and get used to using your right arrow key to actually, not your right arrow key, your right mouse button to move around. It will allow you to move in direction a lot faster because lots of jumping puzzles require you to actually move fast. If you keep on falling off the jumping puzzle because you're double tapping to evade, you might want to go into your options menu and turn off double tap to evade, because when you're shimmying along cliffs and just ridges and you accidentally double tap, you might have to go all the way back to the beginning of the jumping puzzle to restart, so it's better just to turn that off. But do make sure you turn that back on before you go back into combat, because it might kill you if you don't. Size for jumping puzzles does matter. It's all a point of perspective, so if you're used to running jumping puzzles with Zuras, if you suddenly go to a Norn or Char, it might be a lot more difficult. And if you go from a Norn or Char and you're used to that, and you go to a Zura, you will be leaping over objectives. So get used to one body, like one size, like Char, Norn, Human Sylvari, or Azura. Get used to one of those, and then you can easily just run through jumping puzzles. First-person perspective definitely helps with jumping puzzles. It's a lot harder in the Zura because you're in first person because you're all the way towards the ground. For Char and Norn, it actually is pretty easy because your camera's all the way up at a level that most other people are in third person. Every single jumping puzzle, you can do it without having any speed boosts. Well, most jumping puzzles. They are laid out so you don't need sprinting or a speed boost. But if you get into combat, or some of the newer jumping puzzles actually require you to have sprinting or 25% increase to speed. Sorry, not sprinting, swiftness. So you might want to find a way to actually get that for some puzzles, because if you get into the middle of combat or this large gap you have to jump across, you may need a speed boost for that. Every single class has traits to reduce fall damage. And if you make a new character and you have to unlock your traits, all the reduced fall damage traits can be earned by finishing the Obsidian Sanctum jumping puzzle in World vs. World. When you open up the World vs. World menu, one of the options is going to be Obsidian Sanctum, and that is going to be a big jumping puzzle to get you that trait. Now, one of the tactics I've learned is something I call curve jumping. If you've been jumping around, you should have noticed you can change direction while you're in the air. So curve jumping is the same idea, but you kind of jump out a bit, and then you immediately kind of curve in left or right, so you can make it around a little bend. There are several jumping puzzles that actually require you to do this. Another way to traverse jumping puzzles is the dodge jump, where you, at the same time as jumping, you hit the dodge key, and then you will jump forward and dodge in the air, and you will go a little farther than if you would have just jumped. Everyone that knows this is a possibility for jumping, so this is included in some puzzles. Leep Skills. Any skill that has the little finisher of leap can be used in the jumping puzzle, but do be wary. Well, there's ones that are targeted areas where you have a little effect circle and then you can target where you want to go. Other ones is just blindly doing it from wherever your camera's facing. Do be careful, because some leap skills have a delay on them before you leap, or they have a severe drop-off when you're in the air. Also, leap skills, certain ones, if you face your camera all the way up, you can go farther if you were to face your camera all the way down. Mesmer Portals are very helpful. Mesmer's at your third tier of utility skills that cost 6 skill points each. You can get portals, which allows you to set up a portal and then waypoint somewhere, or just run somewhere, drop a portal, and then 20 people can go in between the two portals. It lasts for about 10 seconds. And actually, if you have one of these portals queued up on the ground, the instant you die, the portal will go away and your skill will start resetting. You can waypoint with these portals, so that's a good way to port large groups into puzzles or anywhere else. Ground targeting. When you have your ground targeting option to normal, where you can see the big green circle, it allows you to see what has collision, which is something you can run on top of or run into and you won't move through it. So in a completely dark room, if you move your cursor around with the green circle, you can see where the objects are you need to jump on it. It's very helpful in many different jumping puzzles where you can't see what you're trying to jump on. And another method that I actually did not know about until recently, I call it mini pet porting, which is if you have your mini pet out, and I think this only works if you have it in your wardrobe. If you have your mini pet out, if you can get your mini pet above you, if you log out and log back in, you will suddenly be where your mini pet last was. This is only going to work if you're in the open world. If you're doing world versus world or anything in an instance, if you log out and log back in, you will no longer be in that instance. So mini pet porting only works in the open world. There are some what I call bundle items, which are items you can get off of vendors and then you can use them. The experimental rifle and teleportation gun can help you traverse around the jumping puzzles. I'll put links in the description of where you can find them. And they're just very helpful to get you across very large gaps you would not normally be able to. Okay, talking about practice. So I cannot guarantee a method of practice like do this and you will become better at jumping puzzles. I cannot guarantee it, but the method I used to do to actually do jumping puzzles, and I think that's how I got decent at jumping puzzles, is I do one of two sets of jumping puzzles, either a Maguma set or an Ascalon set. So the Maguma set, you're going to start down in the Grove. Then you'll head over to the Spelunker's Delve. From that, you'll head north to Morgan's Spiral. And after Morgan's Spiral is the Dark Reverie. I call it the Dark Ravine. If you cannot make it through the Dark Ravine, because it is a much harder jumping puzzle, you can skip that one, and then you'll move over to Specs Lab, which is also in Caledon Forest. That one's going to help you definitely with trying to build up speed and actually move fast. Next, you're going to head over to Kessex Hills and go to the Collapsed Observatory. From there, you can either stop that set of jumping puzzles, or you can head over to Lion's Arch and do the 3 jumping puzzles in Lion's Arch. You can look on the wiki to find those. I will be putting a link in the description to the jumping puzzles page. The Ascalonian set is, you go from the Black Citadel into Diesta Plateau, which is north, and you're going to go to the Grenditch Gamble. You're going to go up that. You'll get a resource node at the top. Then you're going to head south to the Wall Breach Blitz. Do that one. Head over to the Crimson Plateau. Then you're going to go over to Plains of Ashford, and do the Lower Clar Expanse. And after that, you can stop the set, or you can go to other jumping puzzles. And just in general, just running around doing various jumping puzzles will get you better at the jumping puzzles and will get you some really good practice. And that's it for this episode. So until then, hit like, comment, subscribe, hit me up on the Twitters and the comment section below, and have a day.